My name is Alex Lee. I am a landscape ecologist. I think these days we're calling it road ecology. And I received the Legacy Award from ICOET this morning. I think it's for sticking around a long time. It's basically offered to and conveyed to people who've been involved with ICOET for a long time in our careers. I was here at the very first ICOET in Keystone, Colorado in 2001. I was introduced to the subject of wildlife habitat connectivity 25 years ago. And it's something that no matter where I've gone and what I've done, I've been able to bring other people along, been able to celebrate some of the successes that we have in our American landscape now. My background academically was landscape architecture. And unlike a lot of the other folks here who are usually engineers or ecologists, wildlife biologists, I came at things from a slightly different angle. I tell people this isn't Nat Geo, but it's got its moments. And this is an opportunity of taking that knowledge, rolling up your sleeves, and you might not be in the spotlight or on camera all the time, but you definitely can make a difference. You can make a difference in the world around you, and sometimes in the entire world, just by helping to promote innovative concepts that bring people together, bring different disciplines together to solving really big problems, but in very sensible ways.
My name's Jeff Gagnon. I'm the lead for Arizona Game and Fish Department's Wildlife Connectivity Team, and I received the 2025 ICOET Leadership Award. So my role is to do wildlife connectivity in Arizona, but I've been able to take what I've learned over the past 25 years and work with other states and countries to be able to help them learn so they don't have to reinvent the wheel. And so on a collaborative effort, we're able to get a lot more done that way. And I believe that's why I was selected for the Leadership Award. So I started out as a young child with a love for wildlife, and I didn't realize how big of an issue roads were for wildlife. I knew there were animals getting hit on the road, but once I started going to college and learning more about, the impacts of roads, and then I met someone that gave me a chance to work in this field, I really was drawn to it, and I continued to pursue, and this is a passion of mine. We need the next generation to come in and be able to make a difference for roads and transportation and ecology, and to be able to just keep pushing through even when things are tough.
I'm Chris Slasar. I'm the Environmental Resources Coordinator at the Vermont Agency of Transportation, and today I was recognized with the Innovator Award. There are several projects, but we really have had some success kind of moving the culture of our agency to a point where the designers and engineers really understand the importance of road ecology. And our highways and habitats training was featured prevalently on the award, as was my work with the Moncton, Vermont Amphibian Crossing Project. When I first started at VTrans, a couple of people came back from the 2001 ICOET, and they were all fired up about road ecology and wildlife crossings. And I just was so inspired hearing their stories of the conference. I was like, I've got to go to the next one. And I've been to every one since 2003. So it really was that connection to the ICOET conference that inspired me to work on road ecology issues. I would advise people to just be consistent and don't give up, because the pendulum swings, and sometimes there's a lot of support for these efforts, and sometimes that support wanes. And what we really need to do in the trenches is just stick with it and deliver the message that we have solutions to habitat connectivity issues.
Hi, my name is Siddhi Singh. I'm a junior at STEM School Highlands Ranch, and we all won the Innovation Award.
Hi, my name is Bree Scoville. I'm also a junior at STEM School Highlands Ranch.
My name is Robin Balheim. I'm a sophomore at STEM School Highlands Ranch.
Hi, my name is Triti Sana, and I'm a junior at STEM School Highlands Ranch. Wildlife kind of drew us in because it was something that we all had a story in originally, and we started looking into research and the impact it had on our community. We realized just how big it was. Like millions of dollars of damages are done each year due to wildlife collisions. So
living in Colorado and experiencing the problem itself, I think, is a big factor, especially because I'm surrounded by wildlife all the time. And so that's what kind of inspired me to also work with them as well.
Driving on rural roads every day and just seeing roadkill on roadkill and thinking there has to be a better way to stop this from happening.
I was initially invited to the project because of its technical aspects by Robin here. But I grew to love it on my own because I've always been an animal lover. I love technology as well. It's a warning system for drivers that detects wildlife, particularly in conditions where they may find it difficult to see wildlife, like the dark.
It utilizes infrared and machine learning. So we trained our own machine learning model on lots of thermal data. And so all that data that's coming in from the camera will be analyzed by that model. You never know what direction you're going towards, so never be adamant or just set on one idea. Be open to taking different paths, switching ideas, finding out alternate solutions. And that's something that we all did a lot in our project, was jumping from solution to solution, because I think that's what contributes to good solutions, is when you consider the alternatives and you're constantly being curious and asking questions.
Just be able to work as a team and know that no matter who you are or what you do, there will always be something in this field for you.
My name is Brian White.
Where's the bear?
I'm with the Washington State. Oh,
Hey, wait a minute.
I'm just holding in place.
Yeah. Let's start that again.
All right.
Brian White, Washington State Department of Transportation, one of the winners of the Innovator Award.
Hi, I'm Randy Giles, Washington State DOT, one of the Snoqualmie Pass 4.
Hi, I'm Jason Smith with Jacobs Engineering Group.
I'm Doug McDonald. I used to be the secretary at WashDOT, and the bear has been a mascot of this project now since 2007.
This award is associated with creating ecological connectivity throughout the Snoqualmie Pass area. So the Innovation Award really stems from developing a unique partnership with 12 agencies, 5 tribes, meeting regularly, understanding what everybody's needs were, and building a project that designed those needs into the project from the get-go.
There were needs of humans on the road, and there were needs of wildlife across the road, and a really good project would put those needs into a single solution, and that's essentially what drew everyone into this project and made it successful.
Well, I'm going to quote Jason Smith, that if partnerships were easy, everyone would do they. And as we work through other projects, we've been working on building collaboration, building partnerships, and that statement is very true. But when you are successful, you end up with a project like this.
Yeah, and I would say be open to other people's opinions. You can learn from them. And then show your work. That's another thing. You really got to put out your research or put out the information that's going to explain why you're doing what you're doing.
Glenn Harper, Range and Wildlife Division Manager for the Pueblo of Santa Ana, and the Stewardship Award for Tribal State Partnerships.
Governor Myron Armijo for the Pueblo of Santa Ana. This project that we're here for today, the Pueblo of Santa Ana and its tribal council leadership have worked on this type of project for a long, long time. It's at least a decade. The impact of this wildlife corridor on both I-25 and Highway 550 State Road will be a very good project for not only public safety and the safety of our animals.
And what drew me to it as an employee for the Pueblo of Santa Ana is just the importance of wildlife and culture and maintaining connectivity. This project is more than about just motorist safety in general, but it's also about connectivity, maintaining the species that are important to the Pueblo.
As governor of the Pueblo of Santa Ana and having grown up at the Pueblo, those wildlife that will be using this passage is so intrinsic, embedded in the Pueblo: bear, mountain lion, deer, elk, and is it the birds, rabbits? They're all important to us.
I think it's important to build strong partnerships. We can't work in a vacuum. Wildlife need the space, usually crosses jurisdictional boundaries. So working outside of your boundaries with the neighbors is really important.
For my fellow governors, I would encourage the northern Pueblos in New Mexico and other communities to look at these projects to see if they can build them and keep our wildlife now and into the future.
I'm Ron Sutherland. I'm Chief Scientist and Southeast Program Director for Wildlands Network, and we just won the Stewardship Award from ICOET.
I'm Nikki Robinson with Wildlands Network, and I'm the North Carolina project manager.
Marissa Cox, North Carolina Department of Transportation, Environmental Policy Unit.
Travis Wilson, North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission, working our Habitat Conservation Division.
I'm Tiffany Yap, Senior Scientist at the Center for Biological Diversity.
We won this award for our work on the Rescuer project, which will provide wildlife passage in eastern North Carolina along US 64.
Road mortality was such a huge issue for the wild red wolf population. And we saw this as a really critical project in order to move red wolf conservation on the landscape level forward.
I have always been a really big fan of nature. I've always really loved wildlife. And I think as I went to college and kind of learned more about how healthy ecosystems affect us and how we affect them, made me really want to dive deeper into it and learn more about it.
Something that I found very attractive to it was the variation in work that every day seemed to bring, whether it was aquatic connectivity or wildlife connectivity or reducing habitat impacts from road projects. I've enjoyed that variation of always working in some different aspect of connectivity, be it aquatics or terrestrial.
I grew up in a really fast-growing suburb outside of Raleigh, and all the natural areas around my house got destroyed. And growing up as a herpetologist, you start to notice the roadkill. You see the dead animals on the road. And so that sort of launched me into this career of wanting to help save wildlife from roads.
I always knew I wanted to have a career working to save the environment, from wanting to save the rainforest in 9th grade. It has been a great opportunity, from stream and wetland mitigation work to endangered species work to now helping work on providing wildlife crossings and increasing permeability on our highways.
Patience and persistence is probably the one that I would say comes to the top, because these projects take a very long time. They can be very complicated.
I'd say there's a lot of room for creativity in this work, and don't be afraid to tap into it or try things that you don't know if it's going to work or not.
I think collaboration is really important, and it's really great when we can put our different perspectives and minds together.
It's really important to dream big when you're thinking about road ecology, because projects can happen and you just have to believe that you can get something like this done. If folks out there have a big project that they want to get done because they know it's essential for wildlife, then I think you got to chase it and you got to make it happen.